This is Mr. Christopher C. Turpak, WrestleRecordSetter.com, XBLA Live, XBLA Arcade version Tetris called Tetris Splash, Marathon Settings, starting level 1, complete 2 shots at world records here. First is for most points, and second is fastest completion.
Hey, Carlin. And to wind things up, something you're really going to freak on, we got...
Next time you're at a wishing well, ask to see the manager. Tell him you've been coming there for 10 years and none of your wishes have come true. Either you give me my money back, or I'm sitting in the well. Here's one for the baseball part. Baseball part. You ever notice at the ball game a lot of guys bring a glove? Fuck that. Bring a bat. You see a foul ball coming? Hit it back to them. Hit it back to them. Yeah. Then stand up and wave at the pitcher. They'll think you're a fun fan. They'll think it's Great Jacket Night. You ever notice in some hotels they give you a little sewing kit? You know what I do? I sew the towels together. Sew the sheets to the drapes. Let them know you've been there. Here's one for the guys. This one is strictly for the guys. Go to a barber shop. Tell the man you want to get your pubic hair streaked. Say nothing fancy, just frost my bush. They'll be talking about you for years. The man who had his bush hair sectioned off with aluminum foil as they try to find a way to fit you under a dryer. You'll be in the Bush Hall of Fame. Here's a good one in the bar, when you're drinking in the bar. You ever notice in the bar someone always says to you, hey, can I buy you a drink? Say, no thanks, but can I have the money instead? Tell them you're saving up to buy your own goddamn bar. Now there's one more area of daily life which lends itself to keeping people alert, and that is when you're driving. Certainly you'd agree, anyone behind the wheel of a car has lots of opportunities to keep people on their toes. I don't mean just blowing some guy's head off because he cut you off at the red light or something. I'm talking about subtle things, like putting your car in low gear and following pedestrians into the mall. I was an Irish Catholic, and I had to quit the Catholic because they were after my soul. It was as simple as that, and they had announced it to me. Soul, your mortal soul. And I had heard about my soul. Most people have heard about a soul before they heard about Catholic. I've heard about soul, and I've been told almost every time you mention soul, they were saying, save it. Save your soul. Save your soul. And the Catholics were after mine. I said, no good, man. I'm saving my soul. Yeah. Let's start it up. Use it on the weekend. See, the whole God thing Got out of hand. We say something, we humans, huh? When are we going to have a meeting? When are we humans going to have a meeting? We got out of hand again. We took the God thing and went off the goddamn into the earth with it. We got this God notion, it's a good notion, it's probably a right notion. I can't talk about the use of a specific word you use, the right notion, but generally speaking, we have been rather self-centered about our attitude. It's not, in fact, we created him in our own image and likeness. Every picture of us sees, every statue is humanoid, except for the Holy Ghost, of course. He's out on weeknights, making home calls, but the other guys were filming it. Like himself. We're very self-centered about the whole thing. In fact, when we put a statue of Jesus on our dashboard, instead of having him watch the traffic, which he should be doing, we got him watching the sky. Watch this, Jesus left turn. Whoa. God into Jesus, God into Jesus, taking all the life. God was a cool guy. That's what we forget. That's all we ever wanted to be. Most of us, we never said it different ways, but at the end of your prayers, you say, please, God, let me be a cool guy. And God was a really, cool guy. In fact, so cool that he's not the guy we think. The guy we think of as God, hey, we're humans walking around, and how are we going to know about God? The guy will tell you, we are so bold, we will describe God to you. Oh, I'll tell you about God. He's good. Well, first of all, your God is all-powerful. He can do anything you want. He can throw a boat right over your head. Power he got. Second of all, he knows everything. He knows what you think, he knows what you thought, he knows what you think you thought, what you think you're going to think, he knows what you thought you're going to think of that. He knows what I'm going to say next, and I don't know what the hell it is myself. So he knows everything. And thirdly of all, man, he never started, and he's never going to end. Never did it. Now, if you were God, would you let a guy like that go around describing you? I'd have some kind of a runoff, I think, get rid of that fella. Because God, well, first of all, we claim, that he is us, and that's probably the best way to get at it, okay? Most of the major religions have said, love your God, love your neighbor, love yourself, and then without saying what they meant, because Benjamin used to say that. And we don't get that far, we learn later, David could do it all, and, it's true, it's nice to say, hey, guys, I'm God is good. It's not an official thing. That's a fine, get a stamp or remember a thing. But it's something we're trying to carry with us. Yeah, right. Sure, you just sing the flowers, of course. Even if you don't tell a truck driver right out that he's a flower and he's a tree and you're him, you know that he could buy it if someone else told him. Not to put truck drivers down. But I give you an ad for a semi-truck driver once. And I don't know what that is. Now, maybe it's the guy who finishes half the course. Huh? Could be a little guy. So if God is you and me, and we're God, he's not perfect. Because we're pretty far from it. And how can he be perfect? He's not. It shows in his work. Yep. Alright? Take a look at a mountain range. Every mountain is different height, different shape. Leaves are all different. You can't get two fingerprints the same, huh? I'll do years to work on that. Can't even give one person two thumbs the same. And everything he makes dies. So he just what else? He's only third in command. The guy that we think is God, third in command. He's the Western marketing manager. That's all. The real God is too busy. Are you kidding me? Swing gas balls around the firmament. Don't worry about Earth, man.
What is it, a planet? Oh, that was Earth, right? I bet it's Sunday. That's the day. My one day off, man. They all crowd in and say, day off my hands. So you gotta do that. Remember, religion is in your heart and God is in the bushes. That's the main thing. It's like the caterpillar throws the cocoon and the butterfly gets all the reviews.
You found Carlin's Corner.
Tomorrow, people with missing chromosomes want to be thrown and screaming from a helicopter.
SiriusXM 400. Rock and roll legend transform hearing aids into their own SiriusXM channel. They'll continue music from their entire career through their 20th studio album, Monster. I'm Gene Simmons and you're not, and there's only one nation to be a part of this on the Still Nation on SiriusXM. Start tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific, exclusively on SiriusXM Channel 39.
I like my cross-section. I've been around long enough that I have a pretty broad base now. We have kids as young as 12 in our audience, and I have people with gray hair in the same audience. Depending on the type of theater, there'll be more older people. Suburban theaters is more than downtown, it's more of a younger crowd. College audiences do not live up to their reputation, I find. Now, maybe more true these days, or I maybe have become more sophisticated. I find them not as worldly, and that's obviously true. That's why they're there, to learn about the world. They're not as worldly, they're not as risk-taking. They'll give me a moan or a groan on some questionable piece of cake faster than a cross-section adult audience will.
You're listening to Carlin's Corner, SiriusXM 400.
If you don't mind, I'd like to begin the show with a prayer. Not too sure about prayer in school, but I definitely believe in prayer in comedy. Some nights, it's absolutely necessary. So this is a little prayer I wrote myself. I don't mean I wrote it to myself. I mean me, myself, personally, I wrote the goddamn prayer. And it's dedicated to the separation of church and state. Our Father who art in heaven, and to the republic for which it stands. Thy kingdom come, one nation, indivisible, as it is in heaven. Give us this day as we forgive those who so proudly we hail. And crown thy good into temptation, but deliver us from the twilight. Amen. That's a little way to start. I don't believe you're supposed to hear a prayer. But we do still have time for a quick Hail Mary. Not quite that quick yet. Those of you who are Catholic will recognize the quick Hail Mary. Actually, there's a quicker version. That's the one you say when you're falling from a truck. And now, God, my request. I always save my request for after the formal prayers, don't you? Set them up. Please, God, let me do a good show tonight. Don't let me be an asshole. Don't let anyone yell too late. And punish those who do. Let me arrive safely back at my hotel room. Don't let me be attacked by a maniac wearing a French tickler and a space helmet. Don't let my beard become entangled in the gears of a transcontinental bus. And don't let me be hit by a flying turd. Help me find some shoes I really like. Help me also to find an nymphomaniac Coke connection who owns a Ferrari dealership.
Don't let me catch BB from a female welder. Don't let me catch BB from a male welder. Give Barry Manilow a boil on his ass. And if it's at all possible, God, please try to make all of our sex organs even larger than you did the first time. Well, I always like to throw in one request that everyone else can get in on, too, you know. So I say live and let live. That's my motto. Live and let live. Anyone who can't go along with that, take them outside and shoot the motherfucker. It's a simple philosophy, but it's always worked in our family.
I danced with a woman, she told me she had a Houston sexy. I said, well, bake me a fucking loaf of bread. Couple of corn muffins, a jelly donut, I don't give a shit. I'm always in the market for quality baked goods. You couldn't squeeze a birthday cake out of that thing by any chance, did you, huh? No, I didn't think so. No pressure, honey, no pressure at all. Why don't you turn around and get a nice pineapple upside down cake? And a dozen oatmeal cookies. Skip the raisins. 6 May on the Asian grade.
People always want to know how you get started on this job. I guess they ask musicians too, some actors and everything, but they always want to know how you get started. They say, how do you get started? Did you always want to be a comedian? Well, not in the womb, but right after that, yeah. But class clown is when you really do get a chance to kind of work out, you know. Because the classroom is the best thing. The classroom is best because, well, no one's allowed to laugh. Yeah. And suppressed laughter, you know, is the easiest to get, the most fun. You know, like when you're kneeling in front of a casket. During the sermon, whatever it is. And in the classroom, class clown always sounds like there's only one of them, you know? It sounds like the class clown, but that's not true, really. There's, you know, quite often there was 2 or 3 or 4 of them. Sometimes you have a whole classroom full of them, you know? If the main guy was absent, second banana was filled in, right? And the class clown wasn't really so unique, you know, he didn't necessarily do things that were real different. It was just, he learned things first. He discovered things first and passed them on to the other guys, right? Class clown was the first to discover a lot of musical things. He was the first one to get into Hawaiian nose humming, huh? Well, if you're going to play, you know. And then, playing the head. You had to be a little mazzo for that anyway, you know. That and throat. Found out later in life the beard acts as a mute for soft passages. Well, class clown was the first guy to discover this. He was in gym class, right? Yeah, the old artificial fart under the arm. Or as we called it in New York, the artificial fart under the arm! There are a lot of ways to make the fart sound when you're here. Let me have this one too. And then the crook of your arm. It's an important sound, you know. I bet you found so many ways to make it, you know. I didn't need any of those fancy ones, because I could, I was into the bilabial fricatives, you know. I'm so glad when I found out I had a real official name to it, you know.
Frost cheer and raspberry never made it for me. Why radio fricatives? Who won from the back? He would probably be an SDG today, man. And that's Carlin but deadly. Wow. It's true, most of the time in class I was tempted to fool around, man. Because someone thought what it was, yeah. You'd be bored and you figure, well, why not deprive someone else of their education? And you would set about disrupting the class by attracting attention to yourself. That is the name of this job, you know. Called Good News. Yeah, it was like, hey guys, didn't make the team, but... Hey, he's crazy, man. Hey, wanna go to parties? Yeah, you went to all the parties. Got the last girl, but you went to all the parties, man. When I would try to attract attention in class, I wasn't really like a very daring and bold youth, but I was a little timid, really. I didn't get right into take epileptic seizures in the aisle, you know. You start out and test the water a little bit. I used to start with little sounds like this. That's a good one because no one can really see where it's coming from, you know. You can even look around like you don't know, right? That's, of course, the pigeon. You recognize the pigeon. That was my only bird call. Because that was our only bird, you know. That's from a real New York part of New York, you know. We have pigeons. And sparrows. That's sparrows. Sparrows, you can never pin a sparrow, you know. They would leave too fast. You try to go over to a sparrow. Pigeons would walk out of your way and give you a bad look, right?
Check this out. Yeah. Yeah.
The pigeons, man. The song is stuck in their throat, you know?
No.
That's what living in the city does, man. Puts your song in your throat. I'm sure when the pigeons first got to the city, they had a nice song, man. 2 years in the city.
This is Texas right now. I
may not be honest with you later on. You've seen that oil slick on their neck. That's pretty good, man. Pigeons. I had one sound that was my own. That's a pity now when I stole it from the French jazz record. None of the other guys could do that one. I added a little something to it. No one really cared, you know. Get him out of here. Get him out. And then, of course, there was popping the cheeks, which everyone had to do. Just to be a kid, you had to be able to do that, right? Well, it was part of the credentials. Can you pop a cheek? Okay, he's a kid, let him in. Let me hear all of you do that. I love when the whole auditorium does it. Everybody go. Okay, just pop. Now do it without giving in to the temptation to laugh. Everybody do it without laughing. But we take that for granted, you know. We think it's so simple. You say to yourself, well, I think I'll put my finger in my cheek and pop it. It's not that easy, man. There's a lot of things to think about. You gotta know how much finger to put in there for one, right? You can't do it like that, man. You have to judge the amount of finger. You have to know how much air pressure against the cheek, how much cheek pressure against the air, and when to release. Yeah, you see old guys in the park now can't get it on anymore. That's the first thing that goes on a class clown is the speech, man. They never did issue microphones for the class clowns. That would have been a big help. But they had ones like this. Remember this one? Old men always used to do this to you. Remember your grandfather would always do it. Hey, come here.
Ah! Oh, yeah!
My specialty was knuckle tracking. I was into it on kind of an esoteric level, really. For instance, I could track all 28 knuckles,
23 minutes, 21 seconds.
Recognized by the knuckling.
From level 1 to 15,
you're
the Senior Marathon
at the ends of the fingers, you have a lot of multiples and repeaters, and if you wake up and think about it first thing in the morning, you can do 50 or more of them, nothing more for you. The smaller the knuckle, the higher the pitch. Something you just don't have to think about, For instance, the last knuckle on the pinky is the highest pitch knuckle you'll hear,
19 touches is 56 combos.
That was a double.